I just burned myself with hot honey that I warmed up for my coffee. Anyways. Hi, my name is Kaylin Noel. Welcome back to this channel. On this channel, we talk about fitness, health and wellness, just how to have a fun, healthy life, and occasionally you'll get a story time like today. So yes, I really did walk out in the middle of an interview, but there's a bigger picture that I decided that I should talk about in the form of a story time. And I decided to tell you guys while I make my coffee, because we're balling on a budget, and the budget said make your damn coffee at home. So this is really dark. Okay, anyway. Oh yeah, I was gonna try to make cold foam. Earlier this week, I went on a job interview because your girl's kind of struggling right now, just to be transparent. And I decided that the only way I was going to get out of my situation is to apply for big girl jobs. And I got a call to go to this interview for this elite marketing firm, as they like to call themselves. And no shade to the place. I'm not gonna say the name, but no shade to the place. That morning I was getting ready for the interview and I wanted no part. The dress code was very, business professional, and I'm not that type of girl. It took me a long time to even want to wear dresses. I grew up as a tomboy. I'm really cool with wearing dresses and skirts now, but I'm just not that type of dress up type girl. I don't know if you guys have ever just felt like you were doing something that just was not you, or just something that just did not align with you as a person. And that's how I felt the entire morning. I was just like, I'm getting ready for this job interview and I don't really want to. I put on my dress. There was like a dilemma of what I was gonna wear, because I don't even own business casual clothes. I don't even own business professional clothes. Like, that is how far removed my mindset is, that like I've never prepared for me to have a job interview where I was going to have to dress nice. I've never wanted any part of this type of environment because it's never been me. My whole life have never saw myself getting ready and going to work. Like, it just never seemed like something that I wanted to do, because I lose interest in things really fast. And also, I just like to be creative. I like to have fun. And just going into jobs, any job really, especially as a kid, just seemed like I was never going to be able to have fun as an adult. It just seemed, and then also just seeing my mom work all the time. And I was just like, that is just, I was like, that seems very ghetto and I don't want to.
No ma'am. No ma'am.
So that was my whole dilemma of going to the job interview. It was just the fact that like I wasn't feeling it from the get-go. I called my boyfriend before I left my house to go to the interview, and I was like, I really don't really see this being it for me. I'm not gonna lie to you, I don't really want to do this. And he was like, hey, just go, see how it is, and if you don't have to take the job if you don't want it, but like it could be fine. So I drove there. Then I was on the phone with my friend and I told her the same thing, and I was like, hey, I'm not feeling this. And they were like, just go, you never know, you could be fine, you could get the job. So I'm gonna try to make cold foam. I used to work at Starbucks and they used to just put creamer or whatever in the blender. It was like a specific type of blender, and I wanna see if I can do that with this. Ooh, I did not like that sound. Ooh. Okay, well, that's not gonna work how I thought. Moving on. Going back to what I was talking about. So I was on the phone with my friend and I told her the same thing I told my boyfriend, I didn't want to do it. Go to the office and I'm like, hey, I'm here for an interview. And they were like, okay. They're like, oh, Kaylin? I was like, yeah, that's me. I'm at the office. I'm waiting to get interviewed. Now, that the resume that they have is old. I forgot to send them the new one, and they thought that I used to work at this place called Willie's, which I did, or they thought that I currently worked there, and I was like, no, I'm actually working at Fabletics. And they were like, oh, okay, cool. So, they were asking me about like my job there. And I don't like interviews that feel like an interrogation. And I know that interviews are supposed to feel like an interrogation, but the vibe I was getting was very hostile. The guy was talking to me and he was asking me questions and he was telling me about the company and stuff. And he was like, you know what? I'm really nervous because I don't think you can do this job. Or like the environment that you're in is not as fast paced as ours. And I'm like, no, I'm super adaptable. Like I can really adapt to anything. I actually prefer fast paced environments. This is where things start to get really, really shaky for me. And that's because I hate pretending. I do like fast paced environments. I don't like to be, bored at work. However, the reason why I had an issue with this is because when he was telling me about the position and about the company, I really didn't care. And here's a toxic trait of mine that has only gotten worse as I've gotten older. If I genuinely do not care about it, you will not catch me doing it. I can't gather the strength and the brain power to allow myself and force myself to do anything that I truly do not want to do. And I felt myself trying to like already conform to what he needed me to be and what I felt like I needed to get this job. I hate feeling like that. I hate feeling like I have to shapeshift into a bitch that I'm not. I thought the interview with him was over and he was about to send me on my merry way. And then he actually pulled in somebody else to interview me a second time and ask me more questions and go into depth. This second interview is where I was starting to lose my mind. Because they were going over pretty much the same things that they went over in the first interview, but just more in depth. And they were asking me more about what I wanted to do and what I wanted out of the company and where I saw myself with the company, and also just like about my previous work experience and all this other stuff. He starts going over the actual in-depth company policies and like how they want you to move up the ladder very fucking quickly. And I just was like, if a pyramid scheme was a professional job, this would be it. And I didn't want any parts because it was just, I don't like to feel like I am working for someone else, in the sense that they want you to be tied to your phone all the time. They want people to be able to call you whenever, however. I have things to do, okay? I have things that I want to do. I'm very stingy with my time. If you schedule me for 8 hours, you give me those 8 hours. And if I'm willing to stay or come earlier, that is up to me, but never on your terms. I don't like being summoned anywhere. I don't like feeling like I have to be summoned anywhere. And that's kind of what they were getting at. Oh, I spilled it on my shirt. I just got this. I have to wash it anyway. He started asking me more questions, right? And I just checked. There was a point in the interview where I was just like, I don't want to do this.
You. You're cool. You. I'm out.
And I'm done pretending like I do. And from that moment forward, I was looking for a way out. I was like, okay, how am I going to be able to wiggle my way out of this interview? And I know, of course, you can just be like, hey, this is not for me. Thanks for the opportunity, but I'm out. Like, I could have done that, but like in a lot of ways, I'm confrontational. In a lot of other ways, I am not. That is one of those things where I was just like, okay. So the interview ends with that guy, right? And I'm like, cool, I get to go home. They want to interview me again the third time. And I was already trying to answer the questions wrong, so they would just let me leave and be like, nah, she's not a good fit. Because I started answering the questions right, because it's what you do in an interview, you're trying to get a job. But then when I was like, I really don't want to do this, I started being less interested and dissociated in the conversation. So then they told me to wait back in the office and fill this little paper out about the interview. And I asked the lady, like, hey, can I step out for a second? I'll be right back. This is not my escape plan. I called my boyfriend again and I said, hey, I really don't want to do this. I want to wait out, but they want a third interview and I don't want the third interview. It was like, you never know where if you're gonna run into these people again. Do not dip in the interview. He was like, do not do that. And I was like, no, like I really don't want to do it. So then he was like, just do the third interview and then you don't ever have to go back, but at least finish out the interview. So then I go back in there and I sit and I'm waiting and I'm waiting. I'm getting anxious because I don't want to do this anymore. That is how wired I am to not do anything that doesn't align with me. It's like I have to go. So I'm sitting there, I'm still waiting for them to call me back to the third interview. I end up making my phone make a noise and pretending that I had a call. I go back out there again to pretend to have a call, and then I told them, hey, I actually have this really, really important thing at my job. I'm so sorry, I gotta go. I said, tell them to call me though. He texted me before I can even get in my fucking car, and he's like, hey, I really wanna talk to you again. So I was like going back and forth with him and pretending that I was busy, but then I just didn't reply back to him. He asked me what a good time was, and then I just never responded. And that is my interview story. And I say all this to say, I've been seeing the I don't dream of labor conversation float around, right? And everyone's just like, I don't dream of labor. I too do not dream of labor and never have. I literally have never wanted a job in my entire life, like not a real one. And then I grew up seeing people on YouTube be able to be themselves and be as creative and, you know, fluid as they want to. And I was like, I want in, but I never gave myself the opportunity to do the YouTube thing until just now. However, there is a video that's popping off on my channel about my hair. I kind of need something else to pop off because that's not really what my channel is about. But share this video, you know, if you like the story time vibe. I want to add to the conversation by saying that, like, I commend people that can just throw themselves into corporate environments and be whatever their jobs want them to be. Me, cannot do it. I am not that type of girl, never have been that type of girl, and I have no desire to be that type of girl. In the last year, I have really discovered that I love fitness, I love health, and I lost a bunch of weight, and I see that there's a way to do this fitness thing that will appeal to more people, and that's another focus that I really want to, you know, tap into, is that I think that the fitness industry needs some work, and I want to be the change that I want to see. I'm just so passionate about this. And I'm so passionate about this. I'm so just eager to like connect with people. I love connecting with people. If you see me out in public, I will probably have a full-fledged conversation with you and not know your name by the end of the conversation, but we could talk for 20-30 minutes. I do it all the time at my job. I feel like this is my place. YouTube and social media, I feel like, is the future. It's not everything, but I do think that it's the future, and I think that it is my future. And I never want to lose sight of that. And I don't want to have to do things. I'm okay with doing things temporarily to get where I need to go, but I don't ever want to fall into the trap of doing something that I don't want to do and that I'm not passionate about. That's how people get burnt out and unmotivated to do anything. They do a lot of things that don't align with them for the sake of doing them, and then they wonder why they feel so lost and unmotivated and confused about life. It's because they've been doing a lot of things in their life that they don't want to do. That's why I'm 22, just now figuring out that this is what I need to be doing. And I spent the last 3 years of my adult life floating around trying to figure it out, but also never doing anything that feels right to me, never following my passions, never following my heart. It's just like, this is what I feel like I need to do right now, so this is what I'm gonna do. Having that job interview really opened my eyes to the fact that I need to stop doing things that don't align with me, and I have to really stop doing things that I'm not willing to give my very best effort in. That's why I put a lot of thought into YouTube and like the longevity of me doing YouTube, not in a monetary way, but in a mental way. And is this going to make me happy? Is this going to make me feel fulfilled? And I don't see any reason why right now why it would not. That could obviously change once I actually start doing this for real. But right now, it seems like a blast. my dog is being a crackhead. That's all I have for you guys today. A quick little coffee and story time. Let me know if you want me to tell any more stories. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching my channel. I will see you guys in the next one. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm almost at 100 subs. I know that's like kind of like lightweight, but like that's pretty crazy to me. Socials will be linked in the description below if you want to, you know, check in and tune in with me. That way you can. And I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this story time.